Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Pointy Headcast. I'm your host Sam, also known as Ducky O'Brien on Twitch, and we are joined today by our co-hosts, our fellow spider people, Barry.
What up, fam?
And Isaiah.
What's up?
Today's episode is on the best teen rom-com, Spider-Man Far From Home. Our email is pointyhatcast@gmail.com. Please send us any questions or comments, as well as any requests for movies for us to watch. Again, our email is pointyhatcast@gmail.com. Moving in to our intro, Spider-Man Far From Home was released on July 2019 in the US. It was directed by John Watts. The script was written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. It stars Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, Zendaya, and many more. Currently, as of this podcast, it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 90% for critics and 96% for the audience. And here's a short blurb of the movie. Following the events of Avengers Endgame 2019, Spider-Man must step up to take on new threats in a world that has changed forever. Wow, alright, let's get straight into it.
Alright, first of all, every single Marvel movie up until now has that line, right? The world is changing, and we must change with it, right? It was in the last Spider-Man movie, it was in Black Panther, it was in Iron Man, it was in Infinity War, I think. And now, the world has changed.
It has indeed. Everyone's dead.
Well, no, not everyone.
They came back. But Iron Man is dead.
Iron Man dies.
Iron Man dies.
Iron Man dies.
Farmer Thanos dies.
Yes, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Farmer Thanos. The hero that people didn't deserve.
Rip Grimace.
Grimace, yes. The hamburger. Man, just McDonald's. That's where he went, dude. After Thanos got wasted, he came back. He reincarnated into Grimace. Have you seen the old Grimace? He has like 8 arms or something. He looks creepy. Oh my god, yeah. He does not look like a kid-friendly hamburger mascot. Anyways, going off topic already.
Yeah.
Let's go on our thoughts for Spider-Man. Who would like to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
I thought it was a very enjoyable movie. Some uneven pacing, but it worked really well because, for me personally, it was basically just a team comedy drama with a superhero movie layered on top of it, just like draped over it.
Yeah.
If you like teen drama, teen comedy, this movie works for you. If you like superhero movies, this works for you. And if you like both, it works even better, I think. It has a little bit of great character moments and a lot of great superhero moments, which together make a great film. Azia, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with those sentiments. Yeah, I thought it was just a very fun film. Not necessarily like the most thought-provoking or challenging in a sense, but it's just a lot of fun. It's a movie you can go in and enjoy, and I like how it starts immediately after. What is the world like post-Iron Man? Because that's the question everyone wanted to know, right? It's like, what does the world look like after post-Iron Man? And this movie knew going into it that they had so much pressure kind of and like a legacy to uphold.
Yeah.
So I understand that it must have been very difficult having to make a very compelling film that somehow wraps up and answers a lot of those questions. But I feel like they do a very good job of constantly having Tom Holland be like, man, it's like, I can't be the next Iron Man. And that's constantly shown throughout the entire film. It's like, because he's not the next Iron Man. He's incredibly smart, like talented, strong, but he's not the next Iron Man. And he isn't Iron Man. And that's not what Robert Downey Jr. wants him to be. Really good teen rom-com as well. Very enjoyable. You get to see the relationship between him and Zendaya. They have a really weird dynamic in like the first Spider-Man movie, but in this movie it's like, it's great to watch.
Yeah, it felt more natural.
Yeah.
A lot more chemistry than Harrison Ford and Sean Young had.
Yep, definitely, dude. Like this one, you knew that they like each other. In that one, I was like, what? Came as a surprise to me when
they're
watching
away
that section.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, what? She's hitting on you? What? No.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. Lifelessly said, yes. Yeah, for me, I totally agree. I think this is an incredibly great teenage rom-com, coming-of-age story. Like, It's about a boy or a teen coming into his own and kind of understanding what it means to be himself. I like this so much. The superhero stuff, if you took it out, I still would have liked this movie quite a bit. You could have put a different story on top of it with the same actors, and I think it would have been fantastic because it's brilliant, it's funny, it's lighthearted. You know it's gonna be funny when I Will Always Love You, is that the song that came on? And it's this cheesy editing with like Getty stock images. I'm like, doves flying on the ground. I was like, oh, this is supposed to be like a touching moment because Iron Man is dead, but then they turn it into a joke and they make it funny. And that's how you know, like, this movie is very subtle. It's not quite in-your-face humor or smart or sharp as, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? But when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're going somewhere with this movie, right? And you see that all throughout when Peter gets the glasses from Iron Man. It's a touching moment. He puts it on, and the first thing he does is he tries to take out his rival love interest for Zendaya, right? It's this guy who was a dweeb. They came back, and all of a sudden it's this hunk, and every girl's into him. He's competing for Zendaya as well, and then what happened was Nick Fury hijacked his trip, and they made him go to a different location. And then an agent calls Peter in to a little room, and then she's like, take off your clothes, and he's putting on the suit. Yeah, take off your pants. Spider-Man Noir suit. Nice touch there. And like Noir, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, the love rival comes in. He has no pants on and is next to this girl, and he thinks like he's hooking up with this hooker, and takes a picture of it and he's showing to Zendaya. So then he uses the glasses to Edith to take him out. He was going to erase the picture, but instead it launches killer drones to kill him. And I was like, if you think about it, it's kind of scary, but like
I actually kind of hated that scene.
Really? I thought it was funny.
It's funny. It's decently executed. I just kind of personally disliked it.
Oh, really? I thought it was like the level of stupid you see in teen movies. I thought they nailed it. You know what I'm saying? Like super bad level. Like, like they didn't quite go all the way in. So many scenes like that, and it's very goofy. I wouldn't say it's the best acted or narratively strong movie, but like the science teacher, right? He was like, as a man of science, I think this is based on witchcraft. You know, and he keeps hammering that joke in, and then he's looking with the glasses, and you can see like the most recent searches on their phones, and his is on witchcraft, right? So like, they're smart with the humor, you know. They like keep putting it in there. You know, it's repeated. It references back on itself, and it's goofy. It's very stupid if you really think about it. It's a lighthearted teen movie where, you know, you kind of need to lose a few brain cells to enjoy it. You know.
The reason I didn't like that particular scene, it works in the context of a teen drama.
Yeah.
It doesn't work necessarily in the context of a Spider-Man movie, because Spider-Man, like he messes up all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the core of the character is he's always trying to do the good thing, the right thing, but he stumbles a lot along the way. But he's never necessarily incompetent. He just makes mistakes.
Yeah.
That's true, because he's very intelligent.
Yeah, he's not a dumb guy, right? He's generally,
yeah.
in the comics, he's probably one of the top 10 smartest people, not just on the planet, but potentially in the universe. Okay? He's a really smart guy.
True.
But you don't need that as a reference. You just need to understand that he's not a dumb person in the context of the movies. And that scene was really borderline on intelligence for Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. I just didn't appreciate it. I think that was a scene where a producer came in and said you need an action beat every 15 minutes.
Or you need something funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, an action beat or a comedic moment every 15 minutes.
I did enjoy when he was like, "Oh look, baby mountain goats," and then he just jumps out and destroys the drone.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but their execution of the scene was about as good as that could have gone.
That's because it's a teen rom-com at heart and a Spider-Man movie on the side, for me at least.
I think it's about equal parts.
Equal parts?
Yeah, I'd say about equal parts.
Because like I'll get into it a little bit later, but yeah, also I like the coming of age stuff where everyone else mentioned it. He has some heavy footsteps to follow. Iron Man died. Tony Stark gave him the glasses. Everyone's like looking up to him to fill that role, that empty space, and he's like, I can't do it. I'm just a neighborhood Spider-Man, right? Just kind of runs away from those responsibilities because he wants to be with his friends, and
he just wants to have a normal life.
Yes, just wants to have a normal life, but he knows deep down inside that he's just running away, because it's hard. Who wants to do that, right? There's no
big
reward.
Boots to fill.
Yeah, big boots to fill. Like, you just gonna get hated on. You're gonna get attacked by all these people, by the Mandarin.
That's what these movies have done really well. Yeah. Is that the core dilemma of the Spider-Man character, and why Spider-Man is really popular as a superhero, is that he's one of the most relatable superheroes. Like, he's got weird powers, sure, but the character as a core, like, his life is kind of a mess, and we can all kind of relate to that, right? Like, he can barely make the bills. Like, his superhero ego, like, alter ego, is constantly at odds with his personal life. He's just, like, reeling from one disaster to the next, and that's all relatable, on a human level. Both the movies so far, Far From Home and Homecoming, have really pulled that off pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just fucking up all the time, but he always means well, right? He always is trying to do the good thing, the right thing. But just along the way, he stumbles nonstop, and that makes him probably a better character than any of the other Avengers so far. And if they continue developing him this way,
okay,
absolutely, absolutely. Because Captain America, you look up to him, but he's not as relatable, He's like the super upright, like absolutely perfect. And then you have Thor, the god of blonde hair and perfect abs.
He's fat.
He's fat now, though. He's fat.
And you have Tony Stark, who's like the billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Always has the answers.
Right. None of the Avengers so far have been relatable to
Ant-Man. Ant-Man.
I mean,
he goes to prison,
Yeah, to an extent. To an extent, he's still a little bit out there. They don't spend as much time on like his personal dilemma,
Mm-hmm.
The first movie more so than the second movie.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man as a character is very relatable to basically everyone.
Yeah.
And it's why he's like the poster boy for Marvel as a whole. He's the top-selling Marvel hero of all time by far, right?
Wait, wasn't there the Sony deal that was like, this movie has to make $1 billion or else Sony won't let Marvel produce any more Spider-Man movies?
Really?
That's a mistake. Come on.
I think I read about that somewhere. I saw an article and I was like, this will destroy Sony if they do this.
Oh,
like the only
Yeah.
really good Sony Spider-Man film I feel like that came out recently was Into the Spider-Verse.
You're right.
Yeah.
Everything else has been Marvel. So
Into the Spider-Verse was absolutely brilliant, but
yeah.
I mean, this is the best incarnation of Spider-Man we've seen, probably including Into the Spider-Verse, although it's pretty close because that movie was amazing.
That movie was incredible.
Amazing.
I
mean, come on. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is easily the best.
It is.
Yeah. I was hesitant at first. I remember when I was like, who the heck is this random British kid playing Spider-Man? All his interviews, he's so posh and proper. And I was like, oh man, I don't like this. But then seeing his training video and his like audition reel for the role of Spider-Man, I was like, dang, this guy can dance and he can do acrobatics. I was like, okay, I'm down.
It's a triple threat.
He's a triple
He can
threat.
sing.
Triple threat. He can sing, he can dance, he can act.
I wish they made him dance in this movie. It would have been amazing.
Spider-Man the musical?
He's actually a very talented like ballet dancer. Classically trained.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Should see some of his videos, Sam. Very impressive.
Okay, I will.
I believe Chris Evans was too.
Ballet?
Really? I believe it though, because Bruce Lee was a world-class ballroom dancer. People don't really know that. He was considered to be one of the best martial artists in the world ever. Also, world-class ballroom dancer.
Yeah, I don't think most people in the martial arts sphere consider him the best of all time, but he definitely pioneered a lot of stuff. He definitely popularized a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why I consider him to be one of the best, maybe even the best, just because of legend status, And I think that there was so much more potential that he had that he just never was able to fully realize, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think it's we're off on a little bit of a tangent
Yeah,
here, but
yeah.
I think it's a lot of cult of personality. He was certainly
Mhm.
a force to be reckoned with as far as the complete package, but
Yeah.
as far as martial arts as a whole,
Pure skill.
like pure skill, like put him against like a fighter in like a no holds barred contest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely competent, but you compare him to like a real fighter that's fighting like
The Rock.
that's his whole whole
No.
life. I don't know that he would really compete. What he did do was introduce a lot of the concepts that eventually led to modern MMA and
Yeah.
popularize them with sheer force of charisma.
And I have so much respect for him because of what he also did for the creative industry and like Hollywood, because he brought essentially these Hong Kong martial arts films into American cinema and helped
True.
bring forth like a whole new genre of martial arts films that were never a thing really in the US. And he got a lot of flack from people in China because they're like, he taught a lot of celebrities how to do fight choreography and also just train them.
He's
like,
in
how
Once
to
Upon a
fight.
Time in Hollywood. Makes sense.
Yeah, the guy that's playing him, by the way, is a complete beast too.
Oh yeah?
He's an
excited,
absolute
dude.
monster. Like the amount of training he did for this movie, like just to achieve the physicality is impressive.
Dude, I'm even more hyped now.
Yeah. Kind of looks like Bruce Lee, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
double take.
that's the point.
I know. That's the point. I'm just saying. He actually cast someone who looks like Bruce Lee.
But no, I respect Bruce Lee so much for what he did for the industry and creating so much, like even as like an Asian, right? It's like well, there is now that kind of like stereotype of like, oh, all Asians can do martial arts, but he brought a very positive image to Asian males to Hollywood and to Western audiences. So I think that in itself is also a huge thing that shouldn't be overlooked.
Yeah, before Bruce Lee, it was face paint and like taped eyelids.
What's that one
That was
movie
the
with the
industry.
guy who he plays like some Japanese person or something? And
David
it's
Carradine?
so bad. It's so bad.
I know what
Maybe?
you're talking about.
There are a lot of movies like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the
Yellowface
industry
was
standard.
a big thing.
Yeah, Yellowface and like taped eyelids, and it was like I can't even call it racist because that was what people did back then, you know. But like after Bruce Lee, people were like, "Hey, we can cast yellow dudes to play these roles."
We're in LA. There's a lot of Asians here. Wow, maybe we can hire them.
I just wish
Yeah.
more cast, Still to this day, though.
But I think it's really cool now that you look at a lot of fight choreography and the whole scene involved around that, and it's a lot of Asians who are working behind the scenes, working as fight choreographers and like fight directors. So makes me proud.
He was the trendsetter, and then after him it was like John Woo and
Oh, John Woo, man.
yeah,
Oh, legend.
I love Jackie
absolute
Chan.
legend.
Jackie
Jackie
Chan.
Chan, yeah, and then it was
Even
Bruce
though he's
Lee.
a communist, but that's fine.
I mean, Jackie Chan was literally his successor.
Yeah. He tried to copy Bruce Lee, like making serious movies. It didn't work out, so he did comedy, and then that's like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah, he found his own
Comedy
style.
action, yeah.
And Bruce Lee even beat up Jackie Chan for a couple of his movies.
Yeah, he was a stunt guy for Bruce Lee's movies.
Yeah. Like Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
There's like a scene of him getting beat up.
Yeah, and Bruce Lee legit punched him in the head.
Yeah, and then Jackie Chan in interviews was like, man, that's one of my proudest moments right there. Me getting a
punched by
nunchuck
Bruce
to the face from Bruce Lee.
It gave him his power to make other movies.
It was a christening
Yeah, it's
to go
christening.
on.
Baptized.
Yeah. But anyway, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man, let's talk about how Spider-Man fits into the superhero pantheon, as you will, for Marvel. Because this is kind of interesting. Spider-Man is what you would call more a street-level superhero, right? His powers are exceptional, but he's not going to fight fucking Galactus, you know? Except he did fight Galactus.
Fought Thanos.
In fact, he was instrumental in beating Galactus because his regular powers are cool, but, you know, they're not on, like, Captain Marvel level.
I will destroy ships.
Yeah. His most powerful abilities are his intellect and his spider sense. His Peter Tingle.
Peter Tingle.
that's
Oh
right.
my god, that made me laugh so hard in the theater.
Yeah, you're
That was
Peter
real.
Tingle.
It was real good. It's often the case in these giant fights, these incredible ensemble cast fights in comic books. Spider-Man ends up being one of the last people standing, ahead of like ridiculous people like Hyperion and Thor and all these
Wow.
guys, just because he has the spider sense and his intellect, his wits. It's kind of cool because he kind of straddles the space between Tony Stark and Captain America, right?
Yeah.
He has the best qualities of both
Yeah,
of them,
yeah.
essentially.
The
So
next generation.
yeah, the next generation. I'm really excited to see where they take his character, as it's going to be within the next Avengers, right?
What is this now? Avengers 4, 5? What are we counting this as?
I don't know. What is it? 6? It might be 6.
Is it
Avengers,
6?
Age of Ultron. I'm gonna count Civil War.
First it was Loki, right? Loki, then Ultron, then Infinity War, then Endgame. So 4, right? So this is
No,
5.
I'm gonna count Civil War because that was
Oh, you're
essentially.
gonna count Civil War?
I'm gonna count Civil War.
But it's Captain America, my dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you're right. You're right. Captain America.
Okay.
It's Captain America
Okay.
in the front.
This is essentially Avengers 6. I'll call it Avengers 6.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to fold him into Captain Falcon
Captain
and
Falcon.
Winter Soldier and Doctor Strange and presumably
Mr.
X-Men,
Strange.
Fantastic Four, or both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe both.
Dude, please make a good Fantastic Four movie. Make a good one.
If Wolverine is in a Marvel movie, I'll get so hyped, dude.
Oh my god.
They're gonna have to cast a new guy, though, right?
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman isn't playing Wolverine.
If I had to make a prediction,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like in the writers' room, producers' meetings that's going on, probably their biggest hurdle is to cast Wolverine and fold the X-Men into the MCU.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is really easy because all those movies fucking sucked and nobody cares.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
But the X-Men movies have had some limited success, and Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine has been so iconic,
Yeah.
and
it's like,
especially
who
after
can-
Logan, you're like,
Who can take that
"Oh."
up, man? It's like, who can live up to that? I don't even know.
So that's tough.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley? Yo, he
Yeah,
old
Ben
though.
Kingsley.
Yeah, he's getting kind of old.
It's just a Mandarin.
Deadpool would be actually pretty easy. You just do whatever the hell you want with him because he's Deadpool.
He's Deadpool. Deadpool does literally whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
So.
But Wolverine's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
I would probably expect, actually, that they're going to do Fantastic Four first.
Really?
I'll put a US dollar on this. The
Oh.
overarching
Oh.
storyline for the next major Avengers saga is going to be Secret Wars.
Oh, okay.
Secret
okay.
Wars?
It's going to fold Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, most of the heroes as we know them into one central conflict.
Who are they gonna fight?
The Beyonder?
The Beyonder?
Bad Bath and Beyond.
The Bed Bath
I
and
have
Beyonder?
no idea who that is.
Yeah, congratulations, you and most of the world.
This will be fun.
The Beyonder is like an extra-dimensional being that has ridiculous powers. He basically has the same power as like the Infinity Gauntlet, we'll say.
Okay.
Just
okay.
by himself.
Yeah, just by himself.
Oh man. Oh man.
I mean, okay, comic book
Side
story
note
time, here we
2.
go. Okay, the Beyonder is sort of a being from what's called the Beyondverse. There's the Marvel multiverse, which is all the
Okay.
different versions of Earth and Marvel, all the Avengers or whatever. And then there's the Beyondverse, which exists completely separately, as the name implies, beyond the Marvel continuity. And that's his own separate thing. The Beyonder is sort of from there, but not really. Okay?
Okay.
The Beyonders exist in their universe, but the Beyonder, as he exists in Secret Wars, exists because Owen Reese, the Molecule Man, attempted to create some interdimensional rift and ended up tapping into the Beyondverse, and the energies of the Beyondverse leaked into the Marvel Universe and did a couple things. The first thing it did was give him, Owen Reese, the Molecule Man, a ton of power. The other half of that power went to the Beyonder. This also folds into the, oh my god, what is it called? The Cube?
The Tesseract?
Not the Tesseract. The Tesseract is,
They're pulling out the Tesseract again.
the Tesseract was supposed to be the Cosmic Cube, but they rolled it into the Infinity Stones. The Cosmic Cube is basically the Infinity Gauntlet. It's a conduit into the Beyondverse, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna do that because it would be visually confusing to everyone in the the
Just the
entire
cube.
world. Yeah, it looks exactly like the Tesseract.
They just gotta make it green.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Make it purple, you know? It's Thanos cube.
Yeah, anyway, what happens is when Reese taps into this Beyondverse, the Beyonder form is from all these energies from the Beyondverse. He's completely nuts, so he decides, hey, I'm going to take all the heroes and all the villains, I'm going to cram them onto this battlefield, and I'm going to have them fight each other, and that's Secret Wars. And a lot of stuff comes from it. The original Venom symbiote came from Secret Wars. Spider-Man discovers the Venom symbiote during the course of this. Fantastic Four meet a lot of other heroes through this. Spider-Man potentially meets alternate universe versions of himself through this.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
He meets Miles. Oh. Oh.
I think in the original Secret Wars he meets a multi-armed version of himself. He meets a post-apocalyptic Spider-Man. He meets a bunch of different versions of himself. You know, I mean, they could potentially fold it into the Spider-Verse like Miles Morales and all that stuff through this. Which is why I'm saying it's probably Secret Wars, because it's pretty open-ended what they could do. They're essentially taking all the heroes, all the villains, and like stuffing them into a battlefield for this.
It's gonna be like Sakaar.
Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh my god, don't make me shoot myself.
Suicide Squad.
Anyway, coming back from nerd tangent.
Tangents upon tangents.
Tangents upon tangents.
Yeah.
I think that Spider-Man feels really good. He's in a really good place right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a very interesting side note, because even though it's a tangent, I feel like that's a great observation, because I was thinking about it, and I'm really happy with how they went with Civil War. Like, it's way different in the different comic book interpretations of that event, right?
It's not even close to the Marvel comic book event.
Yeah, it's not close at all. And I was thinking about that, and you're right. It has a ton of movie potential, because you're just pitting a lot of good guys and bad guys against each other. So I think you're right. I think you should put money on this.
I put $1 on it.
Yeah, put $1.
If you guys want to take me up on that.
No, I'm agreeing with you right now.
$1 whole dollar?
A whole dollar.
I don't think I want to go up against that bet. It's too much money, man.
Too much money. But yeah, going back to Spider-Man, the reason why I really like this movie, again, the superhero parts are probably the least favorite parts for me.
Oh, really?
I know you said you had pacing issues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the pacing issues come in where he has to sneak off and do superhero stuff, and it doesn't quite have the same impact for me as the rest of the movie did. For example, when he first meets Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal in the underground base, that entire section could have been taken out for me. It wouldn't have mattered. It's just there to give a reason as to why Mysterio needs to be there. I mean, Mysterio giving the reason why he needs to be there, right? These elemental creatures attacking Earth, and they're gonna destroy the world if you don't.
Oh my god. Okay, I have to interject here.
Yeah.
That scene was really important to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I already knew that Mysterio was going to be a villain because he's Mysterio, but
yeah, it's Mysterio. You know,
people that don't read comic books might be fooled.
Yep.
But this is like the little wink to comic book fans in this scene that tells you that Mysterio is 100% a villain, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I spoke about this before, but in the comic book multiverse, Earth 616 is the main Marvel comic book continuity. That is the numerical designation for main Marvel comics. And if you remember in that scene, Mysterio says, "Your world is designated as Earth 616. And my world is designated as, I think, Earth 886.
Oh, I think it said 833 or something.
Was it 833?
Might have been. I wrote it down, but I'm not sure if that's correct.
I'll have to rewatch it to be sure, but it was 8 something, okay?
Yeah.
And as soon as he said that, I thought to myself, oh.
Oh.
It was a little wink, nudge to anybody that reads comic books in the audience. Like, yeah, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Before the big reveal scene, that's the scene where you realize. Because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a numerical designation in the Marvel continuity, and it is not 616.
Okay.
So if you're a mega nerd, that scene was very important.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people got it. You know, like Isaiah was telling me, I remember this, that when, the reveal came out that Mysterio was a bad guy, a lot of people were like gasping. They're like, oh, didn't see that coming at all. I'm like, what? Mysterio is one of the main bad guys Spider-Man fights.
He's
he's bad. He's bad guy. Yeah.
Still a bad guy.
Exactly. Every one of these movies, you got a guy and he's a bad guy. Might not be a bad guy, but he's the bad guy, you know? Like,
Yeah. I don't think Mysterio was like that bad.
Oh,
of a
no.
guy.
No, he was definitely a bad guy.
For
He
me,
was a bad
okay,
guy,
okay,
but
He
it
was
wasn't
a
like
straight
a
up
bad
psychopath,
Yeah.
dude.
Here's what I liked about him, and I wish they would have played him a little different. I like that he had a team. He's like this evil Steve Jobs. He's like angry because Tony Stark took his tech and named it Barf. Like, that was his augmented reality tech, named it Barf, and that's why he's pissed off. He wants smart people to be recognized, and like he has this like really deep line where people will listen to anything. You know, I wish they dug into that a little bit more, because then like if it was like what is reality and what is people's perception of reality, if they dug into that a little bit more, like he could have had deep
that would have
meaning
been
there.
very interesting.
Oh, but I don't think he wants talented people to recognize. I just think he wants himself to be
Yeah,
recognized.
no. That's what I want to change, though. I wish that they didn't make him this crazy psychopath. Like, it's so cliche. His character would have had more color if he genuinely wanted people to listen to him and genuinely make the world a better place. And he genuinely thinks that, like, Tony Stark messed it up. Because he's not the best character. He has his flaws, too. And, like, if you saw that, it would have made for a much more relatable character, and you would have been sad that he's a villain. But when you make him crazy and just wants to kill people for himself, you're like, I don't care about this guy. He's just a villain.
I felt if they made him like you could tell he's like sympathetic towards Spider-Man.
Totally.
So I think if they dug into that, and if that was kind of a core part of his character too, I think that would have been so much more interesting and a much more compelling villain. Like Killmonger, right? He's a sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
He's the sympathetic antagonist, right?
Antagonist, yeah. I wish they developed him a lot more. He should have been the hero of the film.
Like, compelling villains just make for better movies.
Yeah, like relatable villains. Like, you want them to be a good guy. You're kind of rooting for them to change. If you can pull that off, that's awesome that you have a relatable hero and a villain. Wow, double whammy. I like what you said before. Like, there's not much to take out of this movie other than it being super fun. And if they did put a little bit more work and then sprinkle some things in to trick the audience into thinking and feeling things beyond like Team Rom-Com level.
Well, they were never going to make Mysterio
a good guy.
No, not necessarily a good guy, but a recurring character, because if you've noticed, they do not ever really bring back A-list actors.
Yeah.
Because they're expensive. That's literally it. Their whole strategy has been to hire talented but underappreciated actors and directors because they have the talent, but they're cheap.
Yeah, you have a good point there.
They bring in these people as villains because they can bring in additional box office draw, like additional people to watch their performance, but only for one movie at a time.
Yeah.
Because they have too much marketing and star power to be able to negotiate multi-movie deals where they might pull like a Robert Downey Jr. where they get paid like $100 bajillion for every time they show up on the screen.
$10 million per movie, and then 2% of the film's profits.
Not profits. He got a percentage of gross.
Not gross. It's gross.
Holy cow!
No, he got a percent of gross because every movie since the beginning of time has showed essentially zero profit.
Okay.
Because of contract negotiation, it's super dumb. But actors almost never get paid if they have a percentage of profit. It's going to be like $5. Because Hollywood bookkeeping is very clever, and they managed to show essentially zero profit for every movie that's ever been made. A lot of the cast of the original Star Wars got screwed over because of this. Like Mark Hamill had a percentage of profit, which means he made essentially negative $5 billion. But Harrison Ford had, I think, a percentage of gross. So
that's a hot tip. That's a hot tip for everyone out there who wants to be an actor. Always take the gross.
Always go for gross.
Yeah, good fucking luck with that.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gonna sign you if you try to negotiate for gross.
I understand like the marketing aspects as to why it's not gonna occur, but like in a world where none of that exists, just making the best possible film that you can, for me at least, I'm not talking about everyone else, just for me, because I'm giving my opinion on what I want to see. I wish they had developed Jake Gyllenhaal's character to be more sympathetic.
Yeah.
When you see him interacting with all of these people who have been like kicked to the curb and they're like amazingly talented and like it's hilarious. He even has a script writer to make up the story for him. Like,
Yeah.
he's smart, but he doesn't know how to make the individual components. He just puts it together, and he's a guy with a big idea and just making everyone work together. You can feel his charisma. People believe in him and look up to him, and it's just like, I wanted to root for that guy, but when he went psycho, I was just like, I was hoping it didn't happen. Because his scene with Peter was just sitting down and talking to him. It's like, what do you want to do at this moment, right? Like, you, Peter Parker, just giving him advice, and it was like, it's kind of touching. Like, he has someone to look up to. And obviously he betrays him. But, like, that knife in the back would have felt more painful if he was genuinely well-meaning. He meant everything he was doing. It just misguided. That's what I wanted to see. That's why I felt like the issues with the pacing of the movie mostly came from the superhero stuff. That said, other than the last scene, I know Isaiah said one of the best scenes that you ever seen. I totally agree. It's one of the most visually stunning and realistic and breathtaking scenes I've ever seen in any movie. Like, special effects, what's happening on it. Like, all the movies before it combined cannot compare to Far From Home for me, personally speaking. That end scene, I think for that scene alone is worth watching the movie. Yeah. Like, they did such a fantastic job. I'm not going to go into it because I want people to be wowed by it. It looks real. You know, we watched Independence Day recently, right, Barry? And like, I know this was a long time ago, but like, there's some uncanny valley stuff whenever you use miniatures or like special effects, and this had none of that. Maybe if you do a frame by frame, you can notice it. I was genuinely immersed in that scene.
I was like, man, this movie would be amazing to watch like in 3D.
Yeah.
Just for that last fight scene.
The best viewing experience money can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you talking about the overall scene or the scene just in that hallway?
Not the hallway, just the overall end scene. The drones flying around everywhere, him just fighting them, everything exploding, the giant creature that's a hologram, like everything looked fantastic. The entire end scene, that whole portion.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys here because
that's fine. That's why, yeah.
I usually kind of check out a little bit for the third act of most of these movies. Yeah, it was visually stunning. It felt a little bit disconnected because of the way it was shot and edited. The core of the movie thus far has been Peter's connection to his classmates and
I agree.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And in the third act, they separate them. Like Jon Favreau and Zendaya, they're sitting like on a soundstage somewhere, right? And they're just cutting back and forth, and it felt like it was compromising the core of the movie for the third act action scene.
I can see where you're coming from, yeah.
As far as like the thrust of the characters throughout the entire movie.
I totally agree with that because like for me the worst part of the movie are the superhero stuff because you gotta have that in the movie, you know. They came to see some action and Spider-Man kick butt and be Spider-Man and have, you know, stuff happen on the screen. But like if that didn't happen at all, just focus on that teen drama and like him coming to realize what it means to be Spider-Man and Peter Parker at the same time, I would have been happy. It would have made for a more solid film thematically and like just be more consistent with the flow. But given what we have right now, I felt like, you know, the end scene was like the cherry on the top of a half-finished dessert that's really good. You know, like, it's not completed. It's not complete. They just ended it because they ran out of, you know, you can't make like a 4-hour movie. I guess you could, but like, you know, they gave us something really good and they left us wanting more. Like, I feel like that's my take on the movie, like with everything. Jake Gyllenhaal's character, like, I think he did a fantastic job. They didn't go in a direction I wanted. It left me wanting more. Spider-Man's interaction with his classmates, like when he slaps that guy who took his glasses, that's so satisfying.
Flash Thompson?
Yeah,
Flash.
That was Flash Thompson.
I was like, yes. It's like, but then you see at the end that he's a sympathetic character because like his parents don't love him. That's why he's such a d-bag, and like he's really rooting for Spider-Man because I think he relates to him. Like he's the character that he wants to be. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like, you know, like he knows he's a terrible person and maybe he hates himself. You know, if they play that into that a little bit more too, like everything they just left me wanting more of. and then they had to sacrifice that to make a superhero movie because it makes money.
I just feel like they could have tied the two halves of this movie together better.
Totally.
Because the third act, like everything to do with Zendaya and Flash Thompson and Jon Favreau and like all the high school crew is just kind of shoehorned in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if they spent more time trying to tie everything together, rather than just giving them stuff to do, it would have felt a lot more cohesive to me.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by giving them stuff to do, because they're like that hallway scene, and then
yeah, they're just in the Tower of Tower of London on like some soundstage.
And they're like, let's run.
Yeah, let's run.
That's
it's just
it.
this little action set piece to add a little bit more weight to that final fight, but
Yeah,
it was just really
suspense.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Because they're completely in different locations, just cutting back and forth, and there's a lot less suspense that way.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's a scene where it's like explosion happens, and it's a scene where like, oh, I don't know if they're okay or not, and the character's like, are you okay, right? But then they showed him being fine before that scene, so I was like, oh, that has zero impact. I know they're okay. Like, I forgot which exact scene was, but I remember watching it and I was like, they messed it up there. Like, you know, you're supposed to leave the audience hanging, but if the audience knows, then that scene has no meaning.
Yeah, it was just a lot sloppier than the rest of the film. That felt pretty tight.
I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
it was sacrificed for the sake of putting stuff on the screen for people to watch and go, yes, this is what I wanted. Action, I guess. This makes me sad. What's the reason why? Again, I was thinking about it, like the amount of money that Annihilation and Blade Runner made.
Mhm.
It's kind of the reason why they do these things.
What amount of money that they made? You mean $0?
The
Yeah,
none amount of
$0.
money.
Negative dollars. Yeah, it's kind of sad because if they had focused on making this movie more consistent with what they had in the beginning, I felt like it would have been. I still think it's a great film, but an amazing film for different reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Last Jedi, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
I love how in this film though they build a lot more on the characters and their relationships.
Yes.
So, because it's like that's what I want to see, right?
Yeah.
That to me makes a compelling and interesting film is sympathetic and nuanced characters
Totally.
who have their flaws, have their own personal motivations, and are just generally relatable and interesting. So I love the relationship between Happy and Uncle May.
Uncle May?
Uncle, why is
Whoa,
Uncle?
whoa.
What?
It's okay. Isaiah's had a few drinks. Not yet.
Yes. Not yet.
Not
But
yet.
like Aunt May,
Marissa Tomei?
Oh yeah, she's cute.
I love how they build up to it in the previous films.
Yeah,
Where they're just like,
they have a thing.
oh, Happy, you'll find a girl one day. Like even like Iron Man, 1, 2. Happy's just like this lovable, lonely single guy,
Yep.
and it's kind of like a really long payoff. I enjoy their relationship and their dynamic.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
love that it's Jon Favreau.
That's true.
Oh, I love that scene
Man.
at the very end where Spider-Man looks like he's gonna come out with his identity to the world, and it's just like, you need to talk about your relationship with my aunt.
Are you
And then-
dating? Are you dating Aunt May?
No.
They're like,
yes.
no, yes, and then they have this long conversation. They're just talking over each other.
You're like,
and I was
I'm gonna go.
yeah, I'm gonna go. That's what I wanted to see. That's brilliant. It's like kind of reminded me a little bit like Guardians of the Galaxy, but that film is way better.
That leads into my favorite scene of the movie, though, which is just him web swinging along with MJ.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
It's the payoff that we've been waiting 2
Yeah.
movies for. You know, you
To
have
see
not
Happy. Right.
in 2 movies. We have not yet seen Spider-Man web slinging through New York until that moment. That's the
Really?
moment. Yeah, we've not seen it. In the first movie, he was in the suburbs. He was in like
You're right,
Queens.
You're right.
That's true. Yeah.
He
And he's
never
trying
did
to-
it. And in the second movie, he's in Europe.
Yeah.
How do you web swing when there's no buildings? And he's like trying to get
Exactly.
trees and stuff.
It's going trees.
He's like running through the golf course. Ah,
Yeah.
man, this sucks.
Yeah, he's just running real fast. It's like, I wish I had different superpowers. I wish I could fly. Yeah, that movie had so many little scenes that develop character. Like when he's talking with his buddy about his plan on how to like confess his feelings to MJ. Like him buying it, him being in Holland and trying to get a ride out, and he doesn't know how to pronounce the place's name, so he just gives the phone to the guy and tells him to do it. And then somehow Happy understands and then finds the place. And all these little scenes, it felt real. It felt like something an actual teenager would do and like real people would do, and that's kind of what I want to see in these movies.
That scene though was maybe my favorite outside of the web slinging stuff.
Oh really? Which one?
Him with Happy.
Yeah, him with Happy.
Yeah,
and that whole
so
transition. Because it went from like the fake mentor and adult figure to the real one.
The underappreciated.
And it was a complete flip-flop because Glenn Beck was the one that he wanted to look up to. He was looking for a new mentor, right?
Yeah.
A new beacon, a new height to aspire to. And the movie was basically saying that there is no new plateau. He has to find his own way, right? That's the core message. Like, he has to become himself. And it went from Mysterio, who was the one he looked up to Jon Favreau in that moment, who was the one that, instead of being above him, believed in him and supported him.
Oh, good point.
And that was like that was one of the emotional cores in the movie. And I just really love that scene. That little moment where he's on the plane and he's designing his new suit, and Jon Favreau puts on AC/DC.
Yeah.
Like the visual callback to like Iron Man 1.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I got the feels there because they see a little baby Iron Man being born, but like it's better, you know. It's more innocent. Yeah, I like that scene. You're right. I like that scene.
Yeah, that was a good
lot.
scene.
Yeah.
When I saw that scene, though, I was like, no, the tulips, no.
Yeah, the tulips. That's what they could do when the plane was landing. I was like, please, land somewhere else. The flowers look awesome. They look beautiful. Why would you land there? Yeah, I was thinking that too. But like, yeah, when I saw that scene, Barry, you're completely right. I didn't see the parallels until now that you pointed out. And man, like those character moments, they're something else. Like I didn't notice that, and now that you mentioned it, I'm like, wow, I have more respect for the writing of this film. It's kind of a shame that those people didn't have, weren't given more to work with. Like, just take the entire third act out and put in whatever they wanted.
I'm sure they had more that they wanted to do, but you gotta have the action beat every 15 minutes, guys. You gotta have it. You gotta satiate the popcorn munching idiots out there. Nobody's been punched in like 20 minutes. What am I gonna do? I'm leaving.
There's no boobs. What am I gonna look at? There's no guns.
But I think this is the reason why Marvel just outclasses DC, is because they managed to have a lot of fun, and funny moments, but still have these moments and emotional cores to their films where the characters are very sympathetic and they give you a lot of reason to care for them, and they do both fairly well. I say if they focused on one, it would elevate the one, but I enjoy Marvel movies for the fact that they're very lighthearted but also can have like these more serious emotional moments that do play out very well.
Totally.
I enjoy Marvel movies because their heroes are not miserable hypocrites.
I enjoy Marvel movies because they're not complete garbage. All right, Suicide Squad, please.
Except Thor.
Well, he's miserable. I don't know if he's a hypocrite.
I don't think he's a hypocrite. Just completely miserable because everyone dies or leaves him because they die, and then he gets fat.
I really like Aunt May too because she's such a like mom character when she packs his spider suit in his suitcase and like, they forgot this and they're opening it up, searching his suitcase at the airport and just like really nervous.
No.
And then just pull out the banana. It's like, you can't take this. Like, cause she packed the banana too. And it's like, oh my god, it's so funny. Like, you can imagine that happening. Yeah.
I need to make another bet. I need to make one more bet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The payoff line in the last 23 movies was Avengers Assemble.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Payoff line in the next 22 movies is going to be with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, are you serious? But
I'm gonna bet another $1 on this.
Why now though? Why now?
I
There's
want
no
the
Uncle
payoff
Ben.
line to be.
No, there is Uncle Ben. Are you kidding? They just don't talk about it very much because it's been overdone.
Yeah, I know, but like, why would they put in the line now?
No, it's gonna be the payoff. It's gonna be the Avengers Assemble of the next saga. Because
Okay.
everybody's waiting for it, right? They haven't given it to us for 2 films, which means they're not gonna give it to us for a while, right?
Oh.
That's gonna be the moment.
What if they don't ever give it to us though?
No way. Marvel's too good for that. They're too smart for that.
You're right. It's the one line that every person who knows Spider-Man remembers. It's Uncle Ben dying and saying, "With great
Uncle
power
Ben.
comes great responsibility." There's some memes about it, like Spider-Man walking down the grocery aisle, he sees Uncle Ben's rice and he just starts crying.
If anything stays the same, Uncle Ben dies. You know.
Yeah. It's the only constant in that universe, the whole cinematic universe.
Uncle Ben will always die.
Yeah.
But I'm betting you right here. I have $2 on the line now. $2 on the line.
Your logic is too strong, Barry. I can't argue with that.
It's gonna pay off 10 years from now, but I'm gonna get
You're
that dollar.
$2. You're like, I was right. Now give me my $2. I think they could completely ignore it and just like put it as like a Easter egg somewhere, like a poster or something.
Nah, fam. It's too powerful.
I know your argument carries too much logic there. I can't disagree with it.
There's too much emotional weight there.
You're right. We'll say Secret Wars, and with great power comes great responsibility. You heard it here first, folks. This happens, then people will have to treat us as
As prophets.
As prophets. We got some credibility. You know, we're not bad anymore. We can predict the future.
I can probably predict it a lot more specifically than that, right? There's going to be the low point and in the ultimate movie, right? The next Endgame, where they're all like together. The bad guy has seemingly won. And they're all going to be together. And then it's going to be that moment where it's like, why don't we just give up? Why don't we just fade away? And it's going to be Spider-Man who perks up and says, we have power. We have the power to stop this. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh my god! If it happens like that, we gotta buy Lao tickets. You know, predicted the future.
That's the future, dude.
I was thinking this would happen. Thanos comes out and he's like, "Y'all better not mess up like me," and it just vanishes. He's like headless. It's like, I'm gone. I'm gonna work at McDonald's now. This is my punishment.
I'm calling it, man.
See Ronald McDonald behind him. Get back to work, Grimace. It's like, I'm Thanos. Remember me.
I am inevitable.
I'm inevitable. Okay. Your argument carries too much logic. Marvel is too smart. It knows that it's what's valuable and has weight with viewers, so they're gonna throw it in. But considering they didn't do it now, they're probably gonna save it for like an important moment. You're right. If they don't, they're gonna be stupid. They're gonna like mishandle this incredible memory that everyone has of Spider-Man.
They had very many opportunities to drop that line in this movie, and if they're not doing it in this movie, they're saving it for a special occasion.
Jake Gyllenhaal could have dropped it when they're having the talk. That would have been a good moment.
He could have dropped it. Tom Holland could have dropped it. Aunt May could have dropped it. John Favreau could have dropped it. They had
Iron
like
Man
a
could have
dozen.
dropped it
They could
from
have
the
had a
glasses.
dozen different moments.
Yeah.
But if they're not doing it, who was it? David Lynch that said that filmmaking is a process of not just what you show, but what you don't show. Because the audience understands that you can do anything. And if you can do anything, then the most important thing is the things that you do not. So I'm calling it. I have $2 on the line, guys.
Man.
Oh
Too
man,
rich
$2
for my
whole
blood.
dollars.
Yeah, $2 whole.
$2 entire
Oh,
dollars.
man. That's too much money for me, man.
Yeah, you can buy a McChicken with that, you know? It's I can't give up food.
You get some good food at Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell. We can go off on another tangent on Taco Bell.
What else have we not talked about?
Nick Fury being an alien.
Oh yeah, the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Wait, that was pretty funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
That was not only funny, but really weird. I saw
Yeah.
it was pointed out on Reddit that it's possible that Nick Fury has been a Skrull since Captain Marvel in the 1990s.
What?
Because he mentions in
I
that
didn't
film
even
that he
think about
doesn't
that.
eat sandwiches that are cut diagonally. And I believe it's shown that he eats a diagonally cut sandwich at some point during the films.
No. Wow. That blows my mind.
That would be wild. Do you think that they would do that though? I feel like they wouldn't.
I feel like they could.
They
and
could, but
it doesn't particularly matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
His is not a character that advances, right? He's the Rock. He's the foundation stone.
The Rock.
The Rock,
He's the
Dwayne
Rock.
Johnson.
Dude, I would love to see
Yes.
Dwayne the Rock in some of
Be
these
Nick
films.
Fury, dude? Oh my god, that'd be insane. Do you smell what the Fury is cooking? And it's just like the people's elbow on him. Yeah, for me, like I thought they did a great job because I felt like the character of Nick Fury was a little off during that entire movie.
Yeah.
'Cause it was like he's
Like
more,
playing 110% Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, or
It's
like
a little strange.
it was a little strange. It was like not quite Samuel L. Jackson, and then later it turns out he's been an alien this entire time. I'm like, oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
I thought that was
sense.
neat. It makes sense. But then, why was that the Easter egg? Does that mean there's a Captain Marvel movie coming in next, or what?
What's next?
Yeah, what's next?
Another Black Panther movie?
No, the scroll thing could
Yeah.
again segue into Secret Wars.
Secret Wars? Okay.
It could also segue into Annihilation Wave. It could segue into a lot of different stuff. Basically, I feel like they're opening up the Marvel cosmic landscape, right?
Gotcha. Making it bigger.
Marvel has, in baseball terms, a deep, deep bench, right?
Yeah, it can pull
Absolutely.
anything.
Yeah.
There are so many characters and storylines they can pull from, and what they did there was just widen the possibilities of where they can pull stuff from. There's like entire planets and galaxies of stuff that exists out there that they just haven't really poked at, and I think they're just opening up to that with that post-credit scene.
Hmm.
I mean, they have like Sword, they have Excalibur, they have the Canadian Avengers that nobody cares about.
Wait, really?
Yeah, dude. Oh, don't even get me started.
That's amazing.
It came as a little surprise. It was nice.
I'm pretty sure that's just there to expand like the cosmic landscape of
Totally.
of the MCU.
It's like when they're like, oh, here's Thor's hammer, and then here comes Thor.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Far From Home, The New Mutants.
All right, that New Mutants, that horror drama.
Oh yeah, that didn't look good.
Oh, Jared Leto.
It could be good.
It could be good, but
I appreciate that
Venom
they're
2?
experimenting. Venom
Black
2.
Yeah.
Widow 2020. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Ooh, okay.
I'm excited for that.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse spin-off. Oh, with Gwen Stacy.
is there gonna be another Captain Marvel movie? Because I thought that was.
I think
Easter
that
egg for
there
them.
is...
Guardians of the Galaxy
yeah.
3, 2020, I think.
Yep, Guardians
Ooh.
of the Galaxy 3.
Ooh, okay, I'm excited for that.
Black Panther 2.
Okay,
Doctor Strange 2.
okay.
Shang-Chi.
Oh, okay, of course.
Kung Fu Man.
Kung Fu Dude.
He's the son of Fu Manchu.
That's the character's name? Come on, guys. I feel like they're just looking up words that look Asian. They're like, all right, Fu Manchu, this guy.
Cousin of Something Wong.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Who came up with these names?
Like 1980s Jack Kirby, powered by cocaine.
Powered by cocaine.
You're right. Cocaine and LSD, best movie makers. There we go.
This is the final chapter of this phase of Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't this technically count as the start of Phase 4?
No, it's that they've stated outright that this is the final movie in this phase.
Oh, okay. Wow. So yeah.
Whoa, really? Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah, it's not Endgame, it's Far From Home.
Yeah,
What a
that kinda makes
fantastic way
sense.
to end. Yeah.
Did you guys talk about how Spider-Man is revealed at the end?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
With J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, dude, J.K. Simmons comes back. He's the only
Dude,
person who
legend.
played a character.
Legend.
Yeah, legend.
What do you think this means for Spider-Man, though? Do you think he'll become like the next Iron Man, where he's just open about who he is?
No.
I feel like it won't be,
I think it's going to be a very minor conflict in
Yeah.
the next film. Or wherever they choose
Yeah.
to deal with it.
because it's like a huge hyped up thing, but I don't think it's gonna matter,
No.
right?
No, it's gonna get resolved, yeah.
It theoretically puts Spider-Man in the same place that he is in the comic books, which is the controversial hero. He's not as beloved as Captain America or Iron Man because he's a street-level hero.
Yeah.
Some people are unsure of him, a lot of people really love him, some people hate him, and it's just a way to drive more conflict with a character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wait, quick question though. Did Jake Gyllenhaal die? Did Mysterio die? Because, like, I know they put the projections on top.
99.99% sure that he's dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's
Okay.
dead.
So then, Oh, from Beyond the Grave. Wow.
Well, do you remember that little insert where
Yeah,
tech guy downloaded
Yeah,
the video?
Tech
I know,
guy.
and then like before that too, they're like, I need the projection of my suit ready, and so I know that he had that planned, but I thought he got out alive. But it's kind of sad that he's dead.
Nah, he's dead.
Makes sense. He's too expensive.
He's too expensive, you know.
It costs too much.
Yeah, that's why he died. When you see like the financial decisions, kind of like the money man, like putting his hand in and moving things around, it kind of ruins the movie for you a little bit. When you can see it just from above, like the Super Smash Bros. Hand just coming down, like picking up pieces, like we can't do this because it's too expensive.
A new challenger appears.
Yeah, a new challenger appears. Investors. It was great. It was a great Easter egg, a cameo appearance. I really hope that they don't go the same route where he works as a photographer for him, Jay Jameson.
I strongly doubt that that's where they're gonna go.
I don't think they'll take him that
It's
route.
been done too much, and I feel like it would kind of ruin the character development they did.
I think the same concept is probably going to be played, but in a different route.
Because he's still in high school, right?
Yeah, he's still a high school student.
If I'm going to bet another US dollar on something, he's probably going to end up like interning for real at Stark Industries.
Oh.
Or something related to
Yeah,
that would be really
be
cool because they show him as someone who's incredibly intelligent, so might as well play into that, right? That's what I don't get like the other Spider-Man movies. There's like, this guy is a genius, so we're gonna make him a regular low-level photographer.
Well, that was always that's part of the character, is that he has all this talent and he never really fully utilizes it because his superhero persona is always at odds with his capabilities as a civilian. Latest Spider-Man storyline sort of deals with that, with the Superior Spider-Man, where Doc Ock takes over his life, basically.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, where like Doc Ock takes over for him. He assumes Peter Parker is dead, and he looks at Peter Parker's life and he's like, "Bro, what the fuck have you been doing? You don't have your PhD. You're in a dead-end job. Your girlfriend hates you. I'm gonna fix all of this right now."
Does he?
He gets his PhD. He establishes Parker Industries, which becomes a multi-billion-dollar industry overnight. And then he gets like 3 girlfriends.
Wow, not even 1, 3.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but that's kind of the gist of it.
That's funny.
Peter Parker's life is just a massive series of disasters. Like his personal life, he's basically reeling from one disaster to the next, which is what
Putting
makes him
out fires.
Yeah, it makes him relatable because we all understand, like, hey, I fucked this up, this up. It's not like Captain America where I'm gonna punch my way through every single problem.
Punch Nazis.
I'm just gonna punch Nazis for like 120 years.
Yeah, we all have Uncle Ben, you know.
I'll solve all my problems with my moral uprightness.
Can you feel the righteousness? If they respect that core to the character, and they have thus far, I think he's probably going to be the most compelling hero we've seen in Marvel.
Yeah.
No, that's
also,
a good
I
point.
like the Zendaya's MJ. It's not like the Hey Tiger MJ, but like this one's more...
It's very well adapted to modern times.
Yeah, well adapted to modern times. Good way to put it.
Like Flash Thompson was originally the jock archetype, right?
Oh, he was Brock?
Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson, alright.
Yeah, he was originally the jock. Like he was the bully to Peter's nerd or whatever. And that doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. That dynamic doesn't exist really.
It doesn't pan out.
Yeah, you're right. Especially young people won't be able to relate to that because the high school dynamic is so different now.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart decision. Everything they've done with the characters has adapted really well.
Totally.
That's a very good point. Yeah, it pans out very well for like modern times.
Yeah, where MJ was originally like just a straight up sex symbol.
Yeah.
She has other stuff going on.
She's
brain. She's obsessed with death.
Yeah.
I love how they make
MJ
so weird.
I have to point out that one of my favorite moments from the comics, and this is from Ultimate Comics, is where Peter is hanging out, and I think it's Johnny Storm just jumps on him and he's like, "Yo, I met one of the female villains from your rogues gallery, and she just started some crazy shit with me, and we gotta figure this out." And Spider-Man's like, which one?" And the Human Torch is like, "Wait, list them." And he's like, Black Cat. He just goes through this list of like 20 different female villains. MJ's like, "Wait, back up." Back up a minute here. Oh, that's great. He has so many like female villains that are just like they're just selling sex, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we go over our recaps of our thoughts, and then we'll rate the movie, and then we'll call it an end there.
Yeah, I guess I'll lead again.
All right.
This is a really promising continuation of the direction that they've been taking Spider-Man in the MCU. The character is very true to the core of the Spider-Man character as it's been portrayed in comic books and since forever. And I think it might be the best portrayal overall, the most focused, the most cohesive, because the comic books are just a mess. They're legitimately a mess. You would need thousands of yards of whiteboard to draw out the diagram of everything that's happened to Spider-Man to figure out where he is as a character, and the MCU has really focused it down to a very narrow path, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that they spend a lot of time to develop the core moral side, the character side, rather than just the superhero side, which is what they did with Captain America, you know. Captain America probably more than anything else, because he had 5 minutes of backstory and character development, and then he was just Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep.
So I like that. I think it's a very promising start to the next phase of Marvel because they're clearly bolstering Spider-Man as the core character. He's the next Iron Man.
Absolutely.
Not just as Iron Man, but as the main character, more or less, of the next arc.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, honestly, I do stand by what I said earlier, which is I think that this movie, at least to me, I enjoyed it more than Homecoming. Yeah, it's like a teen rom-com, almost, kind of. It is, but also a superhero film. The development in regards to the characters and their relationships was just so much fun to watch. They created so many sympathetic characters that really made for an interesting movie overall, and I really enjoyed it. So there were flaws, and this movie definitely could have been better, more cohesive in terms of like Spider-Man and him being Spider-Man versus him being a normal student, Peter Parker. But I do like how they kind of play into that conflict of like he's put at a crossroads a lot of times where he has to choose between, will I do what is right and what will help ultimately more people, or do I just be like a kid and do whatever I want and ultimately just like pursue the girl, screw everyone else, I'm gonna live my own life.
Shinji.
Shinji,
is that you?
But yeah, and he's like an honorable character for doing that and sacrificing like his relationship with MJ for a large part of the film just so that he can help people. Even though if it's like grudgingly, he will still do it, and he'll ultimately continue to sacrifice himself for others, which is what makes him such an honorable and memorable character. Regardless of his flaws, I think that's why he's sympathetic, and that's why Spider-Man, like why people like Spider-Man so much, is because yeah, he makes mistakes and he's stupid, but that's like the rest of us, and he always tries to do what's right. Even if that comes to at great personal sacrifice, he'll still choose to do what is right.
Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed this movie. Again, my main takeaway was that it had so much potential to be better than what it is, but I understand why things have to be sacrificed to make it a movie that makes money so that they can continue to make these movies. And I'm not sad because the parts that I did like and that I saw that had a lot of potential were well done, like incredibly well done. And I hope they give these writers more room to kind of make a more cohesive like narrative and character development and like motivations, all of that be more cohesive and consistent throughout the entire movie. And you know, you can have your big action set pieces, but I hope they give them a little bit of rein and like putting something in there, you know. Again, I always say you gotta trick the audience a little bit, but like what I did see, it was definitely a teen rom-com coming of age story from the beginning to the end. They adopted it to modern times. Like it's not like a callback and they copied an old film. It's completely something fresh, but felt very similar. And I thought that took a lot of skill to pull off. The best parts of the movies was when Spider-Man was trying to be Peter Parker. The action scenes I didn't really care for. The superhero parts, I felt like they kind of threw the pacing of the movie off. But what I did see, like Jake Gyllenhaal's character Mysterio had so much potential to be more sympathetic. Like
great performance too.
Yeah, great performance, incredible. Like you know that he's a bad guy when he goes crazy, but like when he was being not so bad and lying, like you believed him. You know, he's a great actor
bad
too.
Guy.
Yeah, bad guy, definitely.
He's actually a bad guy.
Yeah, he's actually a bad guy. Yeah, but you wish he wasn't. But yeah, I liked everything. Third act a little inconsistent there for the sake of having an amazing action set piece. Again, I thought it was visually stunning. Narratively, it doesn't really fit in there logically either. It just looks great, and I'm okay with that, considering the first two acts were pretty darn solid. We can't all get what we want, you know. It's sad. It's sad. That has to be there for that movie to make money and get more movies made like that. But yeah, I hope that the next movie is a little more consistent. You know, you can have those great set pieces that look amazing, but have it feel like it's a part of the movie instead of you just added on this thing at the end, like a cherry on top. You know, like have it be part of it. Takes more work, but I hope they figure that out. All right, let's go to our rating scale.
Well, hang on.
Yeah?
I forgot to mention this. Something I really appreciated in the movie. This is the first time we've seen Spider-Man get hurt.
Oh yeah,
legitimately.
That is true.
You're right.
He's been pretty invincible, like to an unbelievable level in all these movies up until this point.
Yeah, even in like Infinity War, like
like
wow.
he got snapped, but he didn't really get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone else has gotten like stabbed, shot, whatever. But Spider-Man got like knocked. He got like an airplane dropped on him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
You just lifted it up.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he got real messed up, and I really appreciate that, because you have to show that your heroes are vulnerable. Otherwise, who cares? You just become you become Superman or Captain Marvel. It's the Superman dilemma, right? Like when you got nailed by that bullet train, you're like, oh.
Oh yeah. Oh, like I know he survived, but that's gotta leave a mark, dude.
Yeah.
He got real messed up.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And
he got railed. Oh my. That's too funny.
That's our podcast title.
Spider-Man gets railed. Tonight on the Daily Bugle.
Oh my.
I was thinking of bugle chips every time I hear bugle.
Yeah, I appreciate a good railing.
Yeah. Good point. Alright,
anyway,
let's go to our ratings. Yeah.
Rating scale. Okay.
Yep.
Man, this is a little bit tough. I want to give it somewhere between a 7 and an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
I'll go with a 7 for now.
All right.
Okay.
Isaiah.
7 Suicide Squads.
7 Suicide Squads, of course. We gotta clarify, because our rating system is based on how many Suicide Squads.
It's like I want to give it an 8, but I don't feel like it's an 8. Like it's almost there.
So like a 7.9?
Like a 7.75.
Oh, okay.
Suicide Squads. That okay. I like that. Yeah.
Like that?
Okay. What about you, Sam?
I'm giving it a 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
A 10? Really? Okay.
Yeah. Again, this is not 10 out of 10. People, please don't be confused. This is a science here. Suicide Squads. There are no maximums that we can give. We can give literally any amount. Also, the value can change based on how we're feeling and the time of day. So even though just for reference, we gave Blade Runner 2049 a 9, 8.5, and 9 respectively. It does not mean that I like Spider-Man Far From Home better than Blade Runner.
Our entire scale might also change with this upcoming year's Suicide Squad by James Gunn.
Exactly. Now we have to rate it's really good. We're gonna have to lower our scores. 2? Yeah, 2 Suicide Squad. 1? Half a Suicide Squad? You don't know. That's the beauty of the system, because it actually doesn't matter what we give it. It's just our feelings on the movie, given very ambiguously, and you can't blame us for it. You can't be like, you gave this movie a 10, like 10 Suicide Squads. Please. It's not a 10 out of 10.
This movie made 95 or 92 mil opening weekend.
Yeah.
And total, its domestic is 242 mil. But then
Domestic.
foreign is 392 mil. So it's actually made 635 mil
Holy cow.
as of, 2 days ago?
This is the second frame. We're in the
Yeah.
middle of the second
Wow.
frame.
This is why you need like those action set pieces and everything. It's sad, but
Well, Spider-Man as a property is the most popular Marvel property.
you're right.
By far.
Yeah.
It's the most
Yeah,
recognizable
This shows
anywhere you go.
Uncle
right.
Ben.
Yeah. It's like it goes Spider-Man, Batman, Spider-Man in that approximate order, right? As far as hero popularity. So the property was probably always going to do well as long as the movie was palatable.
Yeah, even
you know, Tom
Spider-Man 3
Holland
did. Yeah,
Was in the Secret World of Arrietty?
really.
Was he?
Yeah. As a voice actor. Apparently.
Hmm.
Wow.
Okay. Anyways, before we go on tangents, we'll just end the episode here. Again, we have our ratings. This has been episode 10 on Spider-Man Far From Home. Thank you guys for listening in. We really do appreciate it because we're not used to getting listeners. So sub to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts,
Spotify.
Player FM. We're on everything. Spotify. Give us a sub. It helps out. If there's a rating system, hopefully give us a good rating and write us a comment. You can send us an email at pointyhatcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and catch us next time on the Pointy Hatcast.
Thanks for dropping by, guys. Stay pointy.
Stay pointy.
Stay pointy. What if I was like, oh no, Sam, I think my recording's cutting in and out again.
No. Never again.
What are we doing next time?
That is a great
Cowboys
question.
versus aliens.
No.
Cowboys versus aliens.
Oh, we can decide.
It will be a surprise. That's right. Even we don't know what's coming next. That's how good we
Yeah.
are.
We're gonna roll a
Surprise.
1d20. On a 1, it's gonna be like After Earth. On a 20, I don't know.
After this one, like people stop tuning in. But anyways,
I rolled a
catch us
natural
next
1.
time,
Yeah.
Ah.
All right.